We had the support of Yamada Sensei, New York and Skyland Aikido schools of New Park Slope, Bermuda, Tenzin Aikido, and Sensei Sabiero of Red Bank. We are a true village, and one that wouldn't be here today if not for all of our devotion. Thank you to Sensei Hao and Sensei Jay, as well as Buck, Connie, Frank, Joseph, Darrell, Andy, Danny, Paul, Omar, and let's not forget our junior deshis, Nelise, Shania, and Jeremy, whose ukemi looks just like the man's. And so please forgive me if I didn't mention your name. You're all very important to me. Each of us bears this loss of a truly remarkable man who was so much to so many. He was our sensei, teacher, mentor, friend, and for me, a privilege to be able to call him my husband, confidant, best friend, and to this day, still my teacher. Rick has given me the opportunity to truly learn about myself and what I can accomplish under the harshest of circumstances. We all have stories of Rick, so many that capture and convey the many parts and pieces that were him. He lived a full, complicated, rich life and touched so many through his work and passion for Aikido, which he gave 150% to. He was the showman, the master, his quirkiness and his humor, the profound, endless generosity and goodness that were his core, and his unbridled sense of fun with everything being an adventure. He was the color and richness of life in motion. I was lucky enough to be Rick Stickles' co-pilot, his Lady H, and the wind beneath his wings. In closing, thank you to you all, especially Jacob Tall, for orchestrating this beautiful remembrance. And especially given the social and COVID crises that we're going through right now, let me end with Rick's favorite Tibetan blessing. May we all be healthy. May we all live with ease. And may we all be at peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. And now we have the rest, and everything else to make life easier is going to be controlled by my son. So please, words from Kathy, Jim, Alan, Bruce, and the teachers at ASNJ.
For asking me to think about Rick on the anniversary of his passing. Rick is the reason I started Aikido in 1977, and he was the type of person that would push you to do things you didn't want. He helped me along the way with classes I didn't want to teach. And then eventually bringing me into his kids program at his school, which I taught for 5 years, and was a tremendous experience and helped me with my own school. So he is really missed. He was unique, and I think about if he were alive at this moment, he would be very creative with what he would do in his school in Aikido during COVID time. I miss him.
On a brave new smile, every shadow of the past whispers goodbye. There is hope if you can see. I give it all to you, you give it all to me. Every winter has the sun within the song, and everything we think we knew we can't forget. Maybe far, but not
Aloha, Sabiero here from Aikido Red Bank. Want to thank Hal Lehrman Sensei and Jay Tal for inviting me to about Rick Stickles Sensei, my teacher. It's hard to believe that this coming weekend is the 5th anniversary of his passing. Seems like time just flew by, even if those first couple of years were really difficult. And you know, what can I say that so many of us haven't already said, don't already feel? He's an amazing man. I do what I do, and I've devoted my life to this practice because of him. And I think a lot of you will agree. His impact on the Aikido world, and I think in our lives, is immeasurable. He was like a second father to me, and he often said I was like a second son to him. You know, when he and I first met, I was like a lot of kids my age, you know, in the middle of college, without much direction, not knowing where to go, choosing a major when we had to. And then stumbled upon Aikido and never looked back. It's a major turning point in my life, how I viewed myself, how I viewed the world, how I view my relationships, and all of the offshoot spin-off directions and practices I got into since, with this being sort of a root. Again, it's just an indebtedness that I feel I can never repay, except to just humbly devote myself to the service of this art and people who want to study with me and who are on the journey. But yeah, we all know he was an amazing, wild character, and but he's also incredibly inspirational, and one of the few teachers who was as vocal as he was in many ways. You know, some ways maybe more off-putting to some people, but the silver lining was he was just as vocal with how he felt, coming from his heart, and his motivations and reasons for doing Aikido practice, which were for him ultimately a spiritual practice, you know, using martial arts as a metaphor for where we can go in our lives, in our own evolution. And so for that, he was a great example and a great source of inspiration, and I will never forget him. So, so even though he may be gone, the way we define gone, all the great mystics and sages say there is no death, right? In India, they say he just left the body, Paul. Right? So maybe we just come into this material world for a short time, play these characters out on a stage, and then when it says fiend and the credits roll, then you know, we take off the costume. And so, at least that's what I believe. I think that's that does seem to make most sense. So, again, a huge debt of gratitude to Stickles Sensei, and I believe he's always with me, and I think he's always with all of us. And again, the best way I could attempt to repay all that he's given me is to continue his legacy by serving the art and continuing the practice, and hoping that those who are like-minded will be happy to come along. So, aloha nui and mahalo nui. Thank you so much. Domo arigatou gozaimashita, Stickles Sensei. Much love and aloha.
In around 1978, a friend from my karate dojo invited me to the New York Aikikai to watch a master from Japan teach. I fell in love with Aikido at first sight. Living in New Jersey, I was informed about a dojo and its instructor, Richard Stickles. I wasted no time and joined. Over the next 35 years, he became my teacher, then developed into a teacher and best friend. On July the 5th, 1980, my son was born on Rick's 30th. Of course, he was very excited. My son and Rick are very much alike, outspoken, All my children call him Uncle Rick, and his son Colin James calls me Uncle Collins. During a summer camp instructors meeting, Yamato Sensei made a recommendation everybody should approve except Rick. If there was a hurdle to jump in, I would have jumped. Those things always landed Rick in the doghouse with Yamato Sensei, and I often felt like I was in trouble too. Rick was a perfectionist. Everything had to be perfect. This personality made him one of the few successful professional instructors. He hosted many Aikido instructors not members of the USAF. Rick and I hosted annual seminars in Bermuda dating back to the early 80s. Rick developed a good relationship with all my students. Rick's name often comes up during conversation. Once on our way to summer camp in Colgate, we made a detour to the University of Binghamton, where we reacted the first class with Hal Sensei. We did a few techniques, and Rick laughed, ha. I miss him. I'm sure most of us do. It's been 5 years already, and I wish I had more time together. But our time together in this world has already been written. Everybody stay safe.
Hi, I'd like to express some thoughts on this, the 5th anniversary of Rick Stickles Shihan's passing. I'm still sad that he's gone, and yet I celebrate in the wonderful work that he's done, and evidenced by the Aikido schools of New Jersey and all the wonderful people that he's been a very big part in their life as an Aikido teacher and as a mentor and as a friend. And he was my close friend and like a brother to me. We started practicing together at the New York Aikikai, and we worked so hard together. And he went on to start teaching at creating the Aikido schools of New Jersey as a Shodan. And he gave me the first understanding, really, that I could be a professional Aikido instructor. So he was an incredible mentor and friend. And it's just my love goes out to his wife, Kathy. And I am so grateful that Hal Lehrman Sensei and also Jay Tall Sensei are continuing his work there in New Jersey. And I wish I could be with all of you to practice now. And but we're in crazy turbulent times, but nevertheless we can find our core and things to be grateful for, and it still give us a sense of fulfillment in how we apply Aikido principles even now. Anyway, blessings to all of you. I send all of you my love, and I wish for Stickles Shihan the highest possible evolution. And anyway, I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
I wanted to share this message with all the students of Aikido schools of New Jersey. It was such a long time ago that it's difficult to recall the exact specifics. However, the overall effect will never be forgotten.
It was on about August 14, 1969. My friends and I heard about a rock festival that was going to happen in upstate New York. We secured some tickets and, despite strong rejections from our parents, decided to make an effort to attend.
We set out in my friend's VW bus for Woodstock, New York, sometime Friday or very early Saturday a.m., just after midnight. As we approached the festival site, traffic got heavier and heavier.
Soon it was at a standstill, and even major roads were turned into parking lots. Cars were abandoned everywhere, on streets, lawns, sidewalks. People left their cars where they were and just started walking.
We had a decision to make. Should we turn around to go home or join the march to the unknown that way ahead? Well, we left the VW bus and started walking.
In the beginning, there were only a few of us, but as the minutes, half hours, and hours continued, our numbers grew and grew. The walk became tedious. Each bend in the road or hill led to another, and yet another.
More than once, we decided that enough was enough, and it was time to turn. Yet each time, we were encouraged by our then large group to continue just a little longer. One more bend, one more hill. Several hours later, we still weren't where we wanted to be. Where was this place called Woodstock anyway?
We must have gone on for 5 hours or more. We were now in a remote area covered with abandoned vehicles and a stream of people. I decided to go over one last hill before I would quit. This was just too much to bear any longer.
We arrived at the top of the hill and looked down into an open field to view one of the most incredible sights I had ever seen. We had made it. The Woodstock Rock Festival lay before us. The stage, tents, helicopters flying in and out, and a group of soon-to-be 250,000 people gathering for the Saturday show.
What happened that weekend is history. A generation had unconsciously come together to make a very conscious statement, and I was a part of it. My life was profoundly changed that weekend as a result of hanging in, going around one more bend, climbing one more hill.
The years that followed, 1969 to 1972, were spent as a student at NYU, sorting out my life, my direction. It was during the Nixon years, the Vietnam War, a very difficult and traumatic time for the country. As a result of all this sorting out process, I was brought to Aikido.
I sometimes wonder what would have happened if I had turned back, if I had quit. Would the doors that opened up as a result of my perseverance been shut forever? I'll never know.
You have all been led to the road called Aikido. There are many bends in the road, many hills, and I can promise you it won't always be easy to continue. Well, then once you'll feel like quitting.
Having gone over that last hill, it makes me sad to see a new student quit his or her practice. They become like the people who turned and walked away from their Woodstock experience.
I sometimes wish I could take them by the hand, bypass the hurdles, and show them the joy and the fulfillment that could be theirs. But this is not possible, nor would it be fair. You have to travel the road yourself, endure the hardships as well as the joys, to have the complete experience.
I can assure you, however, that the stage does exist at the end of the road, and that the bands are playing. The Who, the Airplane. The Dead, Sly. Santana, Hendrix. What a concert it was. Keep on practicing. Signed, Richard M. Stickles.
I first arrived on the doorstep of Aikido schools in New Jersey in 2005. A birthday present to myself, I wanted to renew my interest in martial arts after an extended absence. Aikido schools of New Jersey called to me, especially Sensei Stickles. He was a man above his peers, a maverick in the martial arts world. His knowledge and experience provided many hours of inspiring stories. I was quickly hooked. And over the years, Sensei Stickles was my teacher and mentor, and eventually a friend. My biggest adjustment came when he wanted me to call him Rick while we were out on the golf course, something I never got right. Through Sensei Stickles, I found myself. First through my Aikido practice, but he also helped me deepen my meditation practice. After a few short years, I was blessed and began to give back into the dojo. Sensei Stickles would often assign me to new students to help them get their start. And as we expanded our youth program, he gave me my first class teaching teenagers. Eventually, it would lead to me getting my own adult class. Throughout these years, I often traveled with Sensei Stickles, seminars, summer camp, and a very special trip to Bermuda. And I do want to tell everybody that when it came to getting coffee early in the morning in summer camp, Sensei Stickles was not an early riser. Sensei Stickles was always there with a challenge. As many of you know, letting go is the hardest part in Aikido. But over time, I learned that these lessons transcended the mat and became part of my everyday life. I will treasure these memories. I miss you, Sensei Stickles. I often look to the door just after 7 o'clock, expecting a man in a golf hat, golf shirt, and golf pants coming right in from the course and ready to jump on the mat with us. Thank you for all that you gave me, Sensei Stickles. Thank you for all you gave the world. We had so much more to do. I miss you, I love you, and I wish we're here today.
Okay, I was asked to tell a story or something I can remember about Sensei Stickles. So I was asked to tell if I had a funny one, but I'm going to start mine off with a serious one. Both of these stories take place during the same seminar, well, about 8-9 years ago in Port Washington, Pennsylvania. Sensei Stickles and Sensei Aikido were the two top bills for the seminar. And Sensei Stickles being Sensei Stickles, he wouldn't let anyone show him up. He was so on the money on that seminar. He was calling the biggest guys out of the crowd for a camera. He was throwing like rag dolls all through the air, and telling people if you don't know how to take someone out when you're a black belt at anywhere along the line, you're not doing Aikido. It was just beautiful. He was flowing. It was magnificent. Fast forward to the following morning. The following morning, unlike Sensei Stickles, I'm sharing a room with Joseph, and we get a phone call in the room. Sensei Stickles wants a cup of coffee, and it's 6:30 in the morning. Sensei Stickles never is an early riser. So Joseph goes down to the cafe to get a cup of coffee for him. He comes back and goes, Frank, we have a problem. The cafe's closed, and Sensei wants a cup of coffee. Let's go in the car and go get him one. I'm like tired, and I don't want to go in the car and get a cup of coffee. For Sensei, so I go, Joseph, we got a coffee maker in the bathroom here. Let's just make it. It's the same cups that are in the cafe. So we'll make the cup of coffee in here, and we'll give it to Sensei. We'll never know. So we made that cup of coffee in the bathroom in our hotel room and gave it to Sensei. Sensei Stickles would never drink that cup of coffee if he knew it was made in the bathroom. So that's a little serious and a little funny. But on a serious note, as far as I'm concerned, Sensei Stickles taught me a lot of things on the mat. The most important lesson he taught me was how to see potential in people and how to cultivate them and to do the right thing by them.
So, I used to have a student in Newark Aikido named Horace. During a seminar at ASNJ, Stickles Sensei needed to pick something up from his house, and he took Horace with him. When they got to the house, Kathy had made Stickles Sensei a bowl of soup. Kathy, Sensei's wife. So, he took the bowl, so he didn't have time to eat the bowl of soup. So he asked Horace to hold this bowl of soup while he drove back to the dojo. Now, if you ever driven in a car with Stickles Sensei, you know this is pretty much impossible. Stickles Sensei drove like this. So they get back to the dojo, and Stickles Sensei turns to Horace and asks how he did. He says, oh, I got soup all over my lap. People are going to think I peed on myself. And Stickles Sensei looked at him and said, well, you brought half the soup back, and you shouldn't really care about what people think about you. It should be okay that you know you didn't do that. So the moral of the story is this. I don't know if
he intended that to be a life lesson or to sound like something out of a kung fu movie, but that's who he was. Like every time you spent time with Stickles Sensei, you got a story out of it. And he was my mentor. I miss him, and I still love him. That's all. Bye.
All I want to say about Rick is that he was a theater guy. That's how we met to begin with. And he was one of the most enthusiastic people I've seen in my entire life. And he was an artist. He wanted to express himself. And you can say, I mean, he often said to me how lucky he was to find Aikido, but the reality is Aikido was really lucky to find him. You talk about being a martial artist. He was an artist, and Aikido was his way of expressing himself to the world. And we're all benefited from that incredible intensity. Nothing ordinary was ever okay with him. It had to be extraordinary. And you can understand him if you understand he loved theater, he was an actor, he was a stage manager, and he was a high-ranked trackman, runner. And when something happened that he liked, he went, and he went as fast as he could, he went as hard as he could, and it was never ordinary. It was never just like everybody else. It was always out in front. And he did that for all of us. We were all involved in the movie Hair with Milos Forman, the great director, and Milos spotted him right away. And whenever he needed anything delivered, like we were out in Central Park, and whenever he needed anything delivered to anybody, he'd go, "Hey, where's that guy? Hey, Rick, come here. Go!" And he would run so fast. I mean, it was just absolutely wonderful. And we've all benefited from that energy, that enthusiasm. He always amazed me. I got to say, he always shocked me. And I miss, it was always like, whoa, I'm like, but I'm so grateful that he did that. And I'm in constant conversation with him. And I have no sense of time. And whenever I'm coming out to the dojo here in New Jersey, I can't help it. I expect to see him. And the strangest thing happened today when I was leaving the house, because my wife was saying bye, and she started saying to me, "Say hello for me too." And I thought she was going to say Rick, but of course she said Jay. But I really lost my sense at that time. And anyway, here we all are, and we've all benefited from his amazing talent, his amazing enthusiasm, and his desire for every moment of life to be exceptional. And he gave that vision to all of us. And as far as I'm concerned, we're still here, we're still in conversation with him, and I am very grateful that I have the opportunity to participate in what he created. Thank you all. Glad you all could make it today.
Yes, you Sensei.
Love you, Sensei.
Well, at this time, we'd like to open up to everybody. If anyone wants to have a comment, a memory, share a thought. We're turning the mics back on. Hopefully there's just understand this, I think 50, 80 people there, so please, if you want to say something, just try to have some order. Jacob, turn the mics on. Is there anyone to make a comment? You could turn your own mics on. I just gave you the ability. Just want to make sure my mic's on.
Yes, this is Ray Farinado. I want to thank you for inviting everybody to this. Rick was an incredible combination to me. He had a very deep and profound understanding of Aikido. He really inspired a lot of people. And yet he was, in addition, able to run a successful business. This is something, a combination of talents, which you don't find in many people. Ask people who have started dojos and are struggling. So Rick was really an inspiration that you could really string your life around the practice of Aikido in a very deep way, and in fact even make a living at that. So I appreciate all that he did as a guide for the rest of us. We're trying to do the same thing. Thank you, Sensei Stickles.
If you're not speaking, we should probably mute yourself.
And I guess I'm sorry I didn't run into him at Woodstock, because I was there too.
Well, I guess nobody else has anything they want to say. Then, again, I want to thank everyone for being here, really from my heart, for bringing Rick's memory back for all of us today. So everyone have a wonderful Father's Day tomorrow. Please, please, please stay healthy. Give blessings to everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay, for setting it up.
Hal.
Very
Whoever-
nice. Great seeing everyone.